We'll be back from the break. You're still watching Spotman's Business, your daily Kickstarter. I'm Andrew Barige. I'm with Masika Sime. Well, of course, before we get into any discussion, don't forget the Market Example platform, which are about to open in just a few minutes left. Just 12 minutes left, and the markets will be opening. Now, what you have to do for you to be a part of this, simply dial *292#. You'll be availed with options where you can choose to buy government bonds and securities for as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Now, the markets will be opening at exactly 8:15, like I said, closing at 3:15 p.m. effective Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when you can access these markets. But at least you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make quite some huge profits for yourself, something very key and beneficial for your life, to make a livelihood for yourself, which will be very interesting. And following, of course, what's happening within the economy, this could be quite a very great opportunity for you as an investor to trade government bonds and securities. Now, Zabo simply says, my money, my future. And All Texas East Africa says, do something new. And of course, now this very time, let's get into our business tips and quotes. Yes, well, that's regarding our business tips and quotes for today. And, I like the business tip which said, don't put a ceiling to yourself. Don't limit yourself in your mind of what you can do and what you can do. Mm-hmm. That is something which normally, because most businesses fail not because, you may be doing whatever it takes to do, but probably there is a limitation you have put to yourself, and that limitation creates some sort of a boundary and limits your capabilities, because you are going to judge your abilities within those limitations. That yet, if you have a free spirit, a free mind, and you know that you can actually go through this, well, it will be very, very easy for you to do it. Yeah,
I must say, I think I had like earlier in the years, like last year, I think I had the same issue when it came to broadening my mind and limiting my abilities. There are things I didn't think I would do last year that I'm actually doing this year.
Very true.
So I think it's you letting yourself be out there. Try anything. If it fails, that means it's not, you can try again, or maybe you can try something else. So you don't have to limit yourself. We as human beings are actually blessed that we have the capacity to do very many things. So please, make it a point, try this. If it doesn't work out, do not limit yourself. We have this mentality of, maybe I'm meant to do this. Who told you? What justification is it that you are meant to be in a certain place to do a certain? Let me go out there, be with people, share your knowledge, let them give you a few tips on how you can, survive in this world. Definitely you need people. Actually, we are, if you're 20 years and above, if you're joining campus or if you're already at the campus, you need to surround yourself with a certain group of people. You live alone.
Absolutely.
Yes, to build it, because now we are into a harsh world. You need people that are of a sound mind, regardless. You have to be developmental, you have to be sharp, you have to be assertive, you need to ask. Yeah, I know people do not like asking questions or what. You need to ask. It's like, I give an example. The people in this, people find it hard to ask for directions. Yes, imagine,
directions. Yeah.
Yes. You feel like they feel like, oh, how would they see me asking for directions? I mean, anyone can
So you
get
feel
lost.
so proud to ask
Anyone could get
for
lost.
anything.
Yes, anyone could get lost. Just imagine you're at the airport. It's your first time there at Entebbe. You don't know where we just are from. You do not know where the embassies are. You know, it's okay. It is really okay. Please.
All right.
Please, it's really fine.
It's very interesting in there. Well, it's 9 minutes past 8. Still driving your business here on the Daily Kickstarter. Of course, now let's head straight to take a look at what's happening. Of course, in our update too. Of course, and this time around, it's of course looking at agriculture and as a tool of poverty eradication. Of course, the president recently, of course, was in Okwangsab County, that's in Otuke district, and there was talks regarding modern farming as one of the ways to put the people of Otuke district out of poverty, and something which was embraced with quite outspent positivity. And well, probably there is quite a great future in there when it comes to how far we can go as a country to that. But of course, before we get into any further discussions, let's first of all take a look at what really transpired there. And definitely I'll be returning with Mercy as we, of course, discuss further matters regarding this.
When we came to fight coin, we camped at the other school where you had your old school. It was one of the few cleared places, cleared of bush. When the conflict was over, I thought it was a good idea to keep a presence here. This part of Uganda is quite remote, and I thought that if the government had a presence here, it would help in economic mobilization, but even in security. I'm glad the leaders of the area agreed and gave us that school and some land there. And we shall use it to do the two things we started off with, that is development and security. Even now, that's why I am here, because of the cultural rustling which had started again, but we are going to stop it. I met the leaders, I met the army people. Don't blame all the Karamojong. Some of these boys don't listen to their parents. They do their own things, even against the parents. Apart from security, the real medicine for a good life is homestead income. So leaders may tell you many things, but NRM tells you, seek you first homestead income. Once you have household income, other things will be added unto you. Therefore, I am happy with the proposal of the bishops that we link with them on the parish development model, and I'm going to call a meeting in Entebbe on Mona to discuss this with the bishops.
Your Excellency, you are a promise keeper. You promise us peace and security. We now have peace and security. You promise us that you will build for us Okwang Technical School. Your Excellency, the school is there. Your Excellency, during instability, it was very difficult to reach Okwang sub-county then, because there were no bridge that would connect to this place.
Well, that's poverty eradication. That is in Ozuko district. And, well, something quite very key. I remember some time back, there was the Minister of Agriculture, that's Frank Tumwebaze. Some time back, I think it's barely a month, when there was provision of coolers. When it comes to milk-related aspects, which were very key, like technology in preserving milk. You know, because we were getting to realize that some of the issues we were facing with the markets that we're supplying our milk was in terms of preservatives. And that is something which, when the government officials went to visit the few countries like Algeria, which is one of the countries which, anyway, I'm just talking about this to show you how far we've gone when it comes to implementing mechanization, that is in agriculture. So the same aspect in here, modern farming, as one of the ways to eradicate poverty. Because we know, most especially in such areas, most of the farmers that carry out all the activities are mainly subsistence. You know, they're mainly subsistence, and that means if they don't have an income that they put out there, definitely poverty is going to be something very inevitable to experience on their side. But however, it's also very important that we have what we call the mindset change when it comes to how we take a look at agriculture and so many other aspects that rotate within there, because it's a very broad aspect, because it's one of the areas that we can really have quite some great advantage when it comes to competitive advantage. You know, how I realized that we are really so good at this? I remember, I think one of the members of the private sector foundation happened to visit South Africa, and they actually, when they were there, they gave them coffee to take coffee, and the coffee was really nice. And when they observed where this coffee was, on the pack, of course, there was a claim that the coffee was coming from a country in Europe. I think it was Germany. Was it Germany? Okay, I don't remember whether they mentioned the country. But when they did a thorough investigation, they discovered that actually that coffee was coming from Uganda. So it showed you how did that coffee really skip Uganda, go to a European country, and then the European country really acclaimed to be one of the origins of this coffee. That shows you how far we have when it comes to agriculture and modern farming, and see how we can go as a country when it comes to realizing our potentials, in that perspective. I don't know what you have to say about that, Mercy.
When it came, you said something about mindset.
Mindset, yeah.
I believe if we change our mindsets, us as youth most especially, we can have an impact and boost our economy, because we are growing up, and of course the situation actually we are not. There is not. I shouldn't say there is no hope, but the employment levels actually in Uganda are quite not that much. So as youth, because we actually occupy a huge population in Uganda, what kind of mechanisms have we put in place to see that we can push for agriculture? We have this mindset as youth that agriculture is dirty, you have to...
Uneducated.
It's for the educated, for our mothers who didn't go to school. But then you can help your community, sensitize them, tell them that other than subsistence farming.
Subsistence farming, yeah.
Also commercial farming. You don't have to dig for your stomach as well. You can have your produce, sell them, get income, take your children to school. I mean, that is why we go to school as children.
Exactly.
Empower your parents, empower your siblings that have dropped out of school. Tell them there is future, there is a hope in agriculture. Let's throw away this mindset of it's dirty, you have to go. I mean, who will see me in the garden? But you can have employees. You can employ. I mean, we are lucky that we still have the system of inheritance. You know, you're young, probably you inherited a big chunk of land, but it's useless. You're actually people are
Majority sell it to come and do business in town.
And you know, and it's actually, I may say, in years to come, agriculture is going to be a thing. So if you have your land, please, I feel like you should hold it. Guard it, because in years to come, people are going to be involved in agriculture. It's going to boost our economy. We're going to have produce like never before. So let's embrace agriculture, mostly the youth. Yes, let's change this thing of it's dirty. It's not a dirty job. It's actually the cleanest job you can earn from.
Okay. Well, fathers, of course, in the report here, what really transpired is that we see that unpromising that's developments in Akwang sub-county, that's in Otuke district. President Yoweri Museveni, during a public rally at Baralegi Primary School, pledged to provide clean water, of course, piped water to people, imploring them to take advantage of the resources and fight poverty. That is through modern farming. And, of course, it's laying down the foundation for these particular aspects. Now, people of Akwang sub-county have faced, of course, that is clean water shortages, of course, water straits, but of course now they felt a sense of relief as the president made a strong commitment to address this long-standing issue at the moment. Now, he also expressed his gratitude, and that is to local leaders, that is providing him with land, and emphasized that it would be utilized, that is for development and security purposes. Now, of course, this brings the relief to residents who have been grappling, that is with water scarcity, showing government devotion to improving overall well-being of the community. Now, while addressing, of course, the gathering, President Museveni highlighted the importance of fighting poverty. Of course, that is through modern farming, and of course, encouraging them to take advantage, that is, of resources such as water and solar-powered lighting to uplift their livelihoods. Now, of course, additionally, religious leaders willingly, of course, consented to collaborate with government on the parish development model that aims at fostering, that is, community development through active involvement of religious institutions and government. Now we see the government, of course, working hand in hand with religious institutions, religious leaders are something key. And I see this from the aspect of transparency, which has been one of the hardest issues that we face in Uganda. We're not transparent when it comes to, allocation of resources given for development of the community. And now this would be very ideal of collaborating with religious leaders, they're also willing to give out land, because church has land. Some of these churches have land in which they build on, and if some of this is really provided for economic growth and development, because it's one of the roles of church to make sure that also that people come out of poverty. They need to come out of poverty. They need to work. I mean, now that's the actual preaching of the good news. People have to feel however much they talk about the eternal aspect, but people have to have the physical aspect, and that means they need money. So this was very strategic for President to collaborate, that is with the religious leaders, that is in Otuke district, something which is quite very paying off when it comes to implementation of government programs. But of course, we anticipate as time goes on, it will be still favorable, and we won't really experience massive rates of corruption. It will be quite very discouraging and very disappointing if we hear corruption-related cases that is from religious leaders. Now, additionally, religious leaders willingly consented, consented to collaborate, that is, with government on the parish development model, which aims at fostering development through active involvement of religious government institutions. Now, this commitment coupled, that is, with emphasis on fighting poverty, that is through modern farming and collaboration with religious leaders, of course, promises quite a brighter future for the region. So, I mean, what these people need is hope. That it can be worked out, because we know those areas to be one of the most areas that are victims of when it comes to drought, drought and so many others. And modern farming, mechanized farming, because these are areas that can't rely on natural conditions because of that location where they are. So at least there is need for modern agriculture like irrigation, and thank God that the river Nile flows to those areas, so it's a potential avenue to tap these resources. And President Yoweri Museveni has really been doing his best to ensure that Uganda is really on top. It's on the map when it comes to agricultural output. And now, of course, this is accompanied with quite lots of series with secured markets. There are markets which have been secured for Ugandan products. I talked about milk, that's in Algeria. There was also, I remember sometime when Kenya rejected our milk, we opened up a market in Zambia, so we can export milk to Zambia. So that shows you the potential. But all we need, because remember, the countries that we supply these commodities also have other countries that supply them. And in most cases, what beats us is competition.
Yes,
and now this still comes back to how we add value to what we put out there, because what makes us really not earn lots of money from our agricultural products is the value addition. Like I told you a story of coffee which was taken in South Africa, and of course according to the packaging it showed that it's coming from a country from Europe, but when you trace back the origin of that coffee is Uganda. So it shows you that with the lack of value addition aspects, some of the players that we are competing with will use that as an advantage to exploit us, because they can take in this material, process it, and at the end of the day they'll claim it's theirs, something which is not fair. Of course, it kills our credibility as a country, Uganda, and I believe it is something which stakeholders really need to look into. Such that as the president moves out there to look for the markets for the output of agriculture, we really have a standing to that. And of course, the parish development model is one of the key drivers that are going to be driving that, not only Tuke district, but also the thousands of farmers in various parts of the country, Uganda, are going to come out of poverty. Yes, and of course, combined with the integration of regional markets, well, there will be something quite very, very amazing. Now, it's 25 minutes past 8. You're still watching Smart Men's Business, your daily Kickstarter. Manju Barija with Masika Tsume. Well, don't forget the markets on the Zaba platform, as I speak right now, have already opened 10 minutes ago. So what do you have to do for you to be a part of this? Simply dial *292#. And this will avail you with quite lots of options where you'll be able in position to buy government bonds and securities for just as little as 15,000 Ugandan shillings. Yes, now the markets, like I said, have already opened. And now this is effective Monday up to Friday, except on the weekends and the public holidays when you can access these markets. But at least you have the rest of the days to capitalize and make yourself quite some huge profits of money. And this will be something very inevitable when it comes to business success. And also, like I always say, it's part of the ways you can actually back up your trade deficits just in case you made losses throughout the week. And well, this could be a potential side income for you for you to survive life in this tough economy. Now, Zabu simply says, my money, my future. And Autotex East Africa says, do something new. Now, at 26 minutes past 8, we're going to get into this short commercial break. And definitely when we return, we shall be reviewing what's happening. That's in the world of entertainment and sports at large. Of course, it being a Monday, it's our movie, trading movies. What are those movies that are making quite some huge lots of money? And of course, that is coming up in the entertainment. Good morning.